come on up. Ric's going to do his classification talk with us. And have at it for whatever time you need.
I like how 3 minutes becomes whatever time I need. That's a good thing. The truth is I'm unclassifiable. So it probably was difficult for the club to find a place to put me. But those of you who have met me know that and others, my reputation probably preceded me, but I am the new executive director at Joint Animal Services, and we provide all kinds of opportunities to take care of animals in a variety of different ways, mostly dogs and cats, but some of the other strange and wonderful rabbits and whatnot, and even an occasional horse we get involved with. But my background is I'm a veterinarian, and I have a master's in public health and an MBA, so I spent a lot of time in school. And I'm white-haired, and I didn't really get my career going until I was in my mid-30s. When I took on my first job, actually real job, as the senior veterinarian at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago. And I was there for a number of years and did a couple of other zoo stints as a veterinarian. And then I actually started managing people, that is the two-legged animals, as a zoo director in Billings, Montana. When I arrived in Billings, Montana, there were 2 people and a monkey in the administration building, and you couldn't tell who was who. That used to work really well in all my talks around Montana too, by the way. We went from that status, including me to add to that, to about 30 staff and over 400 volunteers, and got nationally accredited and opened the zoo to the public. And a colleague of mine you may have heard of, Jack Hanna, showed up and actually was our presenting speaker for that grand opening. That was pretty cool of him to do that for free, by the way. And then things happen and you move on. I went to El Paso Zoo for a while. Both of those zoos, by the way, had their issues. You imagine starting with 2 people and a monkey, and that was it. In El Paso, they had done a nasty thing with an elephant. They'd actually beat up an elephant about 2 years before I got there, and they were trying to change their image, and I helped them to change the image. And then I went on to another couple of opportunities in D.C. and then in Colorado. Before the Army found me, I'd been a reservist for 15 years, and they discovered that I was also public health background and this and that and the other, and they reassigned me to civil affairs, and 2 weeks later I was on a plane to Fort Bragg, training to go over to Iraq as a civil affairs officer, with no training other than the fact that I was given that title. That worked out really well. Went there for a year, and I enjoyed that, boy, I'll tell you what. Actually, it wasn't that bad. It was something that I had never expected, and I was kind of going, you want me to do what? Gulp. But I actually did work with a good team there, and we helped the Iraqis make some of their own solutions. And I wasn't there to spend our money, by the way. A lot of people before me spent our money there, and it didn't really go where it needed to go. And so we Americans needed to have a little different strategy than throwing money at stuff, especially in international scenes. But I could go on well over 3 minutes on that. I'm probably overdue right now. I went over there again in 2010. I'd been experienced. Why not? Let's go again. What the heck? The Army actually trained me as a civil affairs officer for that tour. And when I came back from that, I happened to have applied with USAID, and they picked me up for 4 more years. That's 4 more tours, only this time in Afghanistan. And I got back at the end of 2014 from that. My teams, we track about 600 million in new assets generated by local officials realizing their own issues, planning, budgeting, submitting budgets, and lobbying for their own money. That's where that came from. We didn't spend money on them. They found it themselves. So I thought that's a pretty good accomplishment, I think. So I came back and I sat around for 3 months. We have a house in University Place that we rent and now is a vacation home. So if you want to vacation at UP, I got a great house for you. We look straight across at Fox Island. But my wife and I, when I finally returned home and she realized there was this man in her bed again, and it was very strange for a while there. Well, we decided we'd look a little bit further from UP, and we found a really nice house in Silicon, right on the water, except there's a railroad track right below us, so we get the trains going by. But we can see the golf course. We really enjoyed that. We went to part of that tournament too. Thought that was pretty cool, honestly. Really good for the community too. Anyway, so here I am after 4 months of working part-time, playing around, having breakfast and coffee at the local restaurant and enjoying myself. I started looking for a real job because I still want to be engaged, and City of Lacey picked me up, and here I am. I'd like to, if I can, have one more minute. I'll tell you real quick. We are moving our part-time animal control officers. There's 3 of them. They have now become full-time since I've been here. They are going to be trained as well. As an animal control officer, so we'll be certified. We, all of us, that's the 4 of us, have now been commissioned by the Sheriff's Office as for special duties, so we're special deputies, but it's for strictly animal regulation work. And I'm pretty pleased with all of that work, and that's going to go forward in the next year or so. So we'll have 6 animal control officers. What does that mean? We've been trying to manage 3 areas in this county with 3 people and no backup. So the average time we had people in the office actually working those 3 areas for the whole county, and the whole county really, was about 2.1 full-time equivalent. So you know that we had more needs, animal or people resources wise. And the last thing I'd say is that I have this idea about an annex building for education and training of animals. Many of the animals we euthanize, and by the way, the numbers are way down in euthanasia, but there's reasons for that to still occur in an open shelter, which is what we are. We deal with all the needs of the community, and some people just have to relinquish their animals, not all of which are suitable for adoption. Behavior is a big factor. We don't have a lot of expertise in moving or changing animal behavior to make them adoptable. We partner with other organizations to do that, such as the Seattle Humane Association, and they help us with dogs and cats, and we reduced our numbers that way. But if we have our own facility where we do training for you with your dog or cat that you would like to have some obedience work done, that would work, and also for learning more about behavioral needs of animals and making those behavior changes better. I know I've got to go now pretty quick here. He's coming, I got to go.
Rick Torgerson.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so those 2 things are really, really good, and I have received confirmation that looks like I've received $40,000 from an unnamed donor just yet. I'll announce that probably next month, and that's towards that building on our property to do that sort of thing. So thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Very glad to be here.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you doing that. It's always interesting to hear the backgrounds of new members and returning members too, so it's fascinating.